Hi, I'm Srikanth Pregada. In this video, I explain the difference between active and inactive relationships in Power BI. Let's get started. I have a simple table called orders, which contains information about the orders. Especially, we have something called order date, the date on which the order was placed, and ship date, the date on which the order was shipped. Now, I have another table which I created, and this is a typical dates table. And you can see this is how we created that. So we are taking all the dates from the minimum of order date to the maximum of ship date, because obviously ship date will be always after the order date. Now I want to establish relationship between the date and then the order date. And of course, we have one more column called month year, which is just having the month and year. So we are having this as the format. So we take year followed by the month. Okay, that is just a simple column. Now we are talking about establishing relationship between the date table and orders table using date. So just drag it and drop it on order date. So it's asking you, would you like to have one-to-many relationship and also make this relationship active? Yes, I want this relationship to be active. So I save this, and now you can see a relationship between these two tables. Well, we can have only one active relationship, and when you try to have another relationship between date and ship date, we can have it, but the relationship cannot be active. If you make this active, the previous relationship will be inactive. So that brings us to the most important question. What's the difference between this active and inactive relationship? So why should I bother about that? Well, we need to understand the difference between these two, how it impacts our results. So we also want to create a simple measure. So I already created a measure called order count, and which is just getting you the count of orders. Now, as we are trying to find out the count, it is going to link these two tables by the active relationship. So it is going to bring all the orders that are in the same year and month, and it will count how many are there. So let's go and create a simple table, and let's drop the table. And then I try to place this month year, and then I want to have order count. Well, this is what we are going to see. That's great. We are seeing each and every month, and we are seeing what is the order count. That means how many orders were placed. But I also want to know how many orders we shipped in that month. So what is the count of the shipped orders? Not just order count, we want to have ship count. So if you want to have ship count, then you cannot just create a measure saying, get me the ship count. You might be saying, okay, we just do the same, but it doesn't work because it is only considering the orders. It is not considering the ship date. So we do have a relationship between the date and ship date, but this is inactive relationship. So in the normal data retrieval, Power BI cannot use this relationship because this is inactive. For example, if I make this active, okay, first remember what data we have. Here is the data. In first month, we have 370. In second month, we have 314. Now let's go make some change. Make this active. So I say I want to make this active. So it is saying you have a problem because you have one more. So we will make this inactive. I make that inactive and I will make this active. That means the ship date relationship is now made active. Okay. Now go back and see the results. It's not the same. Now the count is for 347, 325. Previously it was 370. So now it is trying to use the ship date relationship because that is the active relationship. Okay, that is understood. But then how can I get the number of orders placed as well as the number of shipments made? Well, then you need to use a measure which can do that. So let's go back and then make this inactive and make the other one active, just like what we did before. Now you can see, just for the sake of confirmation, the numbers changed. Okay, now let's go and create one more, and this is where I'm trying to calculate the count of order ID, and I'm saying this is ship count. But this does not work. So the correct way to do that is using a DAX function called use relationship. So you have to tell Power BI, use this relationship between the date and ship date when you are trying to count the order ID. When you are trying to count the number of order IDs, you should go by this relationship. So use relationship is a very, very useful DAX function. You have to use it like this. Now go ahead and then save this. Now drag this onto your table. So once you put this ship count here as a third column, you can see something like this. So it is saying in the first month you have 347 ship count and 370 order count. And also in the last month, that is the seventh month, there are no orders. We only have 28 shipments. And overall, if you see, the number of orders and the number of shipments tallied, but in each month the counts are different. It's because in this case we are using date and order date relationship, but in this case we are using date with ship date relationship. But that you have to explicitly mention in your measure, and this is the way you do it. You explicitly mention you want to use the relationship because this is inactive relationship. So you have to figure out which relationship you want to keep active. Probably the one which you use more frequently should be active. If you are more frequently joining the tables based on order date, make that active, make the other one inactive. So inactive relationship is not used in order to bring data from both the tables by default. However, if you want, you can explicitly ask for that by using a measure and by using this use relationship function. So that's the difference between active, inactive relationship. So hope you learned something new. Well, keep learning, keep experimenting. All the very best. We'll see you in another video.